Well, it turns out that woke does not work, especially when you inject it into the family entertainment. And mommies and daddies don't want to explain to their kiddos what exactly they just saw on the big screen. Folks, we're here to tell you that there is a war getting ready to be waged between the big animation studios, Disney versus DreamWorks, and more. We'll tell you what's coming, including the rebirth of Shrek. Hello, folks. Welcome back to the Pro Channel, where we endeavor to explain entertainment and keep you ahead of that culture curve. We do so each and every day, thrice daily, because thrice is very nice. And we've got three panelists joining us today, which is just apropos for what we said. Nolan Thunder is back, a hangry table, and Martin Stone. Gentlemen, welcome all.
Thank you.
Great to be here.
Yes.
That's right, folks, and here we go, diving into the content in the way that you know that we will. Click that like button, and here is an interview from Collider with Eddie Murphy. And get ready, because news is about to be breaking.
Recently, Kung Fu Panda 4, the new Puss in Boots, they did very, very well, and it's led to people saying, well, when is Shrek going to be back on the screen?
We started doing the Shrek four or 5 months ago. I recorded the first act, and we'll be doing it this year. We'll finish it up, and there'll be another Shrek is coming out. And there's a Donkey. Donkey's going to have his own movie. We're going to do.
All right, pause right there, guys. There's some stuff here that we did not know. Thank you to Collider. Fair use. We're happy to send people your way, Collider. We'll have the link in the description down below if folks want to go read and watch the full interview. Guys, not just a Shrek 5 on the way, and possibly another Shrek, but also a Donkey movie coming. Get ready, Disney. And here's why this is so important. It's because Shrek is no small franchise. This is the second biggest animated franchise in terms of revenues ever. Number one is Despicable Me. Number two is Shrek. Number three is Toy Story. Guys, do you think the world is ready to return to the world of Shrek and Donkey? And as you weigh in on this, is this perhaps sort of the backlash to woke, where people want to go back to what we had in the early 2000s? They're tired of the modern messaging. What do you guys think?
I think this is a great time, actually, because I recently hear about 2 months ago, or however long ago it was, Shrek 2 just celebrated its, I believe it's 20th anniversary. I saw it the first time around it came out, and got to see it again now as an adult, and I had an amazing time. I was shocked because I wasn't used to re-releases of movies, let alone a family movie, having such a prominent crowd at the theater. But there were a lot of people there wanting to see Shrek 2 again. And with how much Disney has fallen in the eyes of families around the world, I think this is a key time for the Shrek franchise to make a comeback. They didn't oversaturate it. They ended it at a good time. And I think now people are clamoring for it. And I got to say, I know you're asking our thoughts on this, but I want to know the thoughts of Eddie Murphy's agent right now. I hope he's calling him up after this, because I don't think he was supposed to spill the beans in that Donkey movie. I don't think.
I think when you're Eddie Murphy, you can spill any beans about Donkey at any time. Man, let me tell you, Shrek, you got to watch out for them beans. You know what I'm saying? Martin, what do you think of this? Is this a repudiation of woke? We've got Inside Out 2 blasting through the box office. Now we're going back to more of these properties from the early 2000s when woke did not exist. Is it a repudiation, Martin?
It could be, as long as it's not just trying to play from the same playbook everybody else has been for the last 3 or 4 years. I look at Shrek sort of as fantasy Blazing Saddles. You know, it's a satire, it's a deconstruction, but it clearly loves its source material. And I'm fairly excited.
Can you imagine how much fun it will be if Shrek is mocking if Shrek is mocking postmodernism, if Shrek is mocking wokeism in the modern Disney? That would be a fun time. I would have fun with that. Hangry, let me get your thoughts on this next part of the interview. Let's listen in right now.
Do a Donkey as well. So we're going to do a Shrek, and we're doing a Donkey.
Are you recording both right now?
No, not at the same time. I started recording Shrek, and that's, I think, it's coming out in 2025. And we're doing a Donkey one next.
All right, so Hangry, sounds to me like we're going to get Shrek in 2025. That would be next year, and then maybe Donkey in 2026. That's what I'm seeing. that could put a squeeze on Disney big time because, of course, Elio is their next big movie for 2025. I think Shrek destroys Elio if that happens. What do you think of it?
Oh, I agree. But before I give my thoughts, I just want to point out that Eddie Murphy is 63 years old, and he doesn't look like he's aged at all since the 80s. I don't know what he's doing or what sort of regimen he's on, but I want that.
Yes, well, Eddie Murphy is a true treasure, and I hope he stays young forever.
But back to your question, though, I've always take announcements of sequels with a little bit of apprehension. I think it's been beaten into all of us in the last decade that at first glance, a sequel might seem like a great thing, but then more often than not, it's been proven to be disastrous. So here's hoping that they have learned their lessons, that they will try to stick to to making a simple, fun, enjoyable movie. And that is enough. Like it's not a high bar to meet, and I'm pretty sure they can do it. And if they can, 100% they're going to destroy Elio, guaranteed.
Oh yeah, yeah. So, and this is why I think, by the way, Frozen 3 and Frozen 4 now reportedly being worked on in unison. That is new. We knew 3 and 4 were going to be coming. We didn't know that they would work on them in unison. That's from Daniel RPK. That's a rumor, folks. We need to specify it as rumor, but that's what is being said. The reason for the assembly line of sequels, as you're talking about, Hangry, is Inside Out 2. Now, clearly, the latest, what should we say here? The gallery of woke products that hit the market, especially from Disney, but a few from others, did not go over well. And so there's this desire, this nostalgia, but it's more than nostalgia. It's this hunger, Hangry, to go back to the properties that people loved before wokeism came and destroyed stuff. Well, Inside Out 2 really stays away from wokeism. Now, I've got issues with the anxiety angle of this, but from the woke side of things, it gets away from it. And Pixar has been fully involved in woke now for like 5 years, and everything they've done has failed. Okay, so Pixar comes out with Inside Out 2. Inside Out 2, no woke. Suddenly, boom, the box office explodes again. It's the biggest animated film perhaps ever if this thing keeps going like it is. Don't know what will happen. Maybe Despicable Me 4 will come in and just obliterate it with its non-woke little yellow minions. Who knows? But, I mean, look at this. $800 million at the worldwide box office, a surefire billion on the way, and it looks like people hate woke. And that may make Paul Tassi, the new Scott Mendelson, very angry. But that's what it is. People want non-divisive entertainment for their kids that they don't have to explain any of these major issues on the ride home. They don't want to do it. And, they'll even put up with a little anxiety, so long as they don't have to explain bedroom issues, apparently. Pamela, am I wrong somewhere?
What was the name of that movie where they said, if you build it, they will come?
I remember a field. Perhaps Un Campo de Sueños, I think I remember it called. Field of Dreams, yes.
Oh, I thought you might have meant Cloverfield, like the monster movie. Like, I don't remember anything that uplifting in that movie.
No, and I'm Cloverfield. We'll leave there. We'll leave that monster where it is. Godzilla -1 is the only monster for me anymore. Nolan, am I wrong? Poke a hole in this thing. Am I wrong anywhere on this?
No, I think it seems that the trends they've been following in recent times just don't seem like they're connecting with families. Whether you're in agreement with their direction or not, the proof is in the theoretical pudding, so to speak. You got to chase where the money is going. That's why 1980s cartoons pushed toys so heavily. The cartoon pumped the toy sales out, and it kept the shows on the air. That's why you're seeing a lot of cartoons getting canceled now, is because they can't push toys. The reality is, whether Disney wants to align with it or not, it's not selling, and it shows they need to go back to basics, to where it seems what's really clicking right now is a lot of heart and a lot of family-centric stories. A lot of even films that are kind of lackluster but still have a good family message are still doing pretty decent right now. And if Disney can know just, hey, don't just become a sequel factory, put some heart into it and make something that families will like again, I think it can go quite a ways for them. But I don't think it's going to catch up to the juggernaut of Shrek coming up, though. I think when you're comparing yourself to one of the most groundbreaking franchises and they're going up against a franchise that's probably going to be calling you out, and Disney's kind of been down up until recently, I don't think they're going to be. I think Shrek is still going to end up being the record in the long run. That's my personal take.
Guys, let me put a cherry on top of my it's woke is the problem Sunday. Okay, let me put the cherry on top of it. Here's what I would say. I'm just going to bet. I'd put $10 on this. I might even put $11 on it because I'm that brave and scandalous. That Disney knew that Shrek is on the way. I think that the House of Mouse has mousy rodent spies all over Hollywood, and I bet they knew this was coming. I bet they knew that Donkey was coming. I bet they know that Despicable Me is eating their lunch at like half the budget of their Pixar films. Guys, I don't think that they're going back to Toy Story. I don't think they're going back to Frozen. I don't think they're going back to Moana because they wanna get rid of woke and go back to just normal, no messaging kind of stuff. I think their hand has been forced. I think the writing was on the wall. I think they know that if they don't drop it and drop it now, although they'll try to get it in there just softly, but I think they know that if they keep this up, they are going to be obliterated in animation by Universal, even by Sony. I mean, heck, there's nobody who won't defeat Disney if Disney goes down this path. They were struggling to make $200 million every time they made a woke movie. They don't make a woke movie, they're going to make $1 billion. There's like the chasm between the revenues for woke versus not woke is insane. It is mind-blowing, the difference in revenue you will make. Where am I wrong here, guys?
I think there's a lot to be said here because, like, I can think the only one, like, it's up to interpretation whether you consider, like, certain movies, you know, woke or not. But, like, I think as far as we're talking about, like, woke in the traditional sense, Barbie, I think, is, like, the only one recently that was very prominent in its beliefs and its messaging that managed to excel at crazy box office numbers. I can't think of, correct me if I'm wrong, but I can't think of any family film that tried to go along these certain viewpoints that has actually succeeded. Am I wrong? Is there any sort of film or cartoon that was aimed at younger audiences?
And you are elucidating, Nolan. You are pulling out from us the Barbie theory. Folks, we have answers for what goes on in Hollywood. The Barbie theory is simply that if you have a property that is feminine in nature and was previously feminine in nature, then you can go into areas of wokeness. But if it is a male franchise and you try to go woke, you do indeed go broke. That is the Barbie theory. And that is, by the way, why I think Inside Out 2 has found success, because there are some minor kind of hidden little areas of wokeism just sitting in there. But for the most part, it's not woke. But because it's a female franchise, it's driving these adult women to go see it. But let me tell you, Shrek is not going to be that, I don't believe. Shrek is going to be pass gas in a mud puddle kind of humor and make fun of the mouse. That's what I think, and I don't think it's going to go woke. I don't believe that it will. I could be wrong. Maybe we'll find out Fiona has been a masculine ogre all along. Who knows? But be careful, Gingerbread Man and Pinocchio. We know what you guys attempted in those prior films, and be wary of going farther this time. Martin, we need to hear from your handsome avatar. What are you thinking about this?
Well, I was thinking before Inside Out even came out that it was really the second week hold that was going to tell whether or not families were coming back for the franchise. And I looked it up. There was a negative 35% second week hold. That's amazing. This article I'm reading says it was the highest second weekend for an animated movie, beating out the Mario movie. That's
if it had held 43%, Martin, I would have been amazed. That's what I was projecting for it. It obliterated that. This is a phenom. It's performing as well as anyone could ever dream of a movie such as this performing.
And anecdotally, I was a little wary of it, but my wife took my younger kids to go see it, and then she went back for a second weekend and took all the kids.
Oh, wow.
They did not feel ennui, is what you're saying.
No, in fact, my wife thought that the message about anxiety was good for young teenagers to see.
Well. Turns out, folks, that they did not embrace anxiety, which was one of our concerns, was that they were going to turn a disorder into something that you need to hug and love. Turns out that was not the case. Not completely. Hangry, I'm going to give you final word on this. What do you make of the return of these properties from yesterdecade back to prominence and kicking out the stuff that has been blowing up in the faces of studios?
Well, as long as they don't pull a Bo Peep with Fiona, I think they should be relatively safe. It's as you said, Pro. They're forcing Disney's hand, right? Like now is the time that they have to pull out all their big guns because they can't afford this anymore. They cannot allow these other companies to trample all over them. And so, yeah, I'm cautiously optimistic. I do think the pendulum is swinging back. I do think more and more companies are waking up. And I do think that more of them cannot afford to have multi-million-dollar bombs on their hands. So is the lesson finally being learned? Are we actually going to finally see things kind of shift back to where they were at before? I certainly hope so. That is an optimistic dream of mine, and time will tell. We'll see.
And I would say, folks, there are going to be those detractors out there and healthy skeptics who will say, "Oh, come on, Pro, it was the pandemic. It had nothing to do with wokeness that these movies failed." And I say, au contraire. You see, at the same time that some of these films were flopping and people were saying, "It's the pandemic. It's the pandemic. It has nothing to do with politics." At the same time, you would watch Spider-Man No Way Home break all kinds of records. So I say to you that the pandemic was a very squishy excuse brought out when it was well used by the studios to defend themselves, and at other times it seemed to have no impact on audiences whatsoever.
Aren't they still using that excuse now too?
Of course. Why let a good excuse go to waste? And folks, why let a good video go to waste? Consider clicking that like button, share, subscribe, click it, stick it to the algorithms, it's the notification bell, drop a comment down below. Let us know your thoughts. Is Shrek the return of anti-woke films and hard-hitting satire like we need? Folks, if you're not yet subscribed to channels like Nolan Thunder, well, you should be. And Hangry Table is rocking the joint over here with all kinds of member-exclusive content weekly. Folks, you got to come in and check it out. Martin Stone, writer for thatparkplace.com. Go check out his articles. And folks, we're going to see you real soon. 3 times a day and a 75K subscriber celebration on the way. Thursday, 5 p.m. Eastern, just ahead of something minor going on that evening. I don't know, of historic import. I'm not sure. There's something happening that evening. Oh, wait, a presidential debate. We'll see how that goes. All right, folks, but we won't get into politics. That's not our thing. Until then, though, folks, keep learning, keep growing, and you know it, keep having fun.
Yeah, I am so excited for Independence Day. You can taste the liberty and drink in all that 4th of July freedom.
Why? You're not an American, and you don't live in America. Not to mention, you're a troll, and they're from Norway.
Wait, you're saying that trolls can't have the spirit of America? How do you explain Leslie Headland? That'd also be like saying the Acolyte isn't Star Wars.
Well, I guess it's not bad to not be American and wish for that kind of freedom. But please, don't compare this situation to the Acolyte and it being Star Wars. Nothing's that bad.
Well, gosh darn it. You've given me something new to aim for.